The next stage of the modeling is going to be creating a face and head. And before I do so, I'm going to do a little bit of a cleanup on this file. Specifically, I want to put the planes and the torso into layers that allow me to hide and unhide them easily. Here at the bottom of the channel box, I have my display options. With these two planes for the background selected, I can create a new layer and assign the selected objects. I click, and now I can hit transparent or frozen so they're no longer selectable but still visible, or I can simply turn off their visibility. For the torso, arms and legs, I'll create another new layer. Double-clicking allows us to change the name, and I'll call this body. Hit save. Call the first layer image planes. And now I can hide these both. Bringing back the image planes. So to begin the head, I'm going to go into the side view with my body hidden and my image planes available. And in the polygon module, I go to the mesh menu, not edit mesh, mesh, and I go find create polygon. I'm going to use this to create this outline shape of the head, for the most part ignoring the hair. And then in the front view, I'll be able to extrude out the volume. So I'll start on the bottom of the neck, get something of the curve, the Adam's apple, and then a couple of vertices for the chin, maybe 3, one for the bottom of the lip, one for the front of the lip, one for where it touches the top lip, one for the top lip, and one for the bottom of the nose. I'm using as few vertices as I can. I will add more detail in the future. 2 for the tip, 1 for the arch, 2 for the top of the nose. In his case, a couple more for the very pronounced brow. And then I'm trying to trace the volume of his head. Again, with as few vertices as I can. I'll use 2 vertices for the neck and the back, just as I use 2 in the front. And then, without even having to go to the beginning, I can just hit enter, and it completes the line. I can take a few moments in vertex to try to fill out the volume. That looks pretty good. Going now to the front view, I will right-click for object mode. This might be easier in the perspective view. Its pivot got moved down here. So in the front view now, I move the face into position. The pivot was automatically created at the origin, which is fine. We're not trying to move him a lot after this. Just making sure that he's centered. Pretty good. And now, we're going to extrude out the face. The first extrusion is the entire face. We'll go to Edit Mesh, bring back this window, and do an extrude. And scale in a little bit. You could also use the offset tool. For example, a 0.1 offset is quite a significant amount. Now that I have my first extrusion, I want to look in the front view and make sure that what I'm getting is the distance of the nose. That's what we're trying to extrude here. That first extrude is the nose. That looks pretty good. So I can hit Enter or hit the Move tool to complete the extrusion. And now I want the Split Poly tool because I want to cut off the nose. Hit Enter, and that allows me now to select the whole face except for the nose to do the next extrusion. Pull that geometry out. And do a little bit of a scale. Looking at this for the front view, what I want this time is the side of the eye, which is also around where the side of the neck goes. Which means we can now use interactive split poly to cut off the neck, hitting Enter to complete the cuts. And now we can select the face and do another extrude. Bit of a scale, and this time we're trying to get the side of the head. Whenever I accidentally lose my selection, what I'm hitting is Control-Z to get it back. So there I have the basic volume. I'm going to select these vertices here and here in order to get the mouth. This, of course, could have been done before I extruded, but this is also a perfectly fine time to do it. Selecting all those vertices, I hit Merge. I also don't need quite so many vertices here at the extruded part of the chin. So all of these I can now merge. And the major fixes that I would make, even for a rough model, include making sure that I have even tessellation on the head. I would also probably like to extrude an ear. So here I'm making even spacing. I only wanted them this close for the nose. Everywhere else should be pulled out. So I'll pull this all the way out for the chin. Then I'll come back here for the mouth. Bring this in. This needs to come in significantly. Here for the mouth, this will come way, way in. Hitting F for focus so that I center my rotation is my selection. I can pull out this bit of bottom of the nose a little bit. And while his brow is significant, it probably doesn't go all the way to the side of his head. So once again, snap, stack, select these vertices, merge. So let's create an ear, and let's create a nostril, and let's start the eyes. Have a sense of how that's done. And then we'll go to the hair. So starting with the ear. This will be an extrude, but without pulling it out, just scaling it in. And then I can pull it out a little bit. Now we go to the side view, and here's where I'm going to need to significantly alter these forms because the ear is all the way in the back in my diagram. Okay, so I grab this face, I scale it, I bring it back here. And now I want these vertices to trace the ear. And we probably don't need all of these vertices. So some of these we can snap together, as long as we remember to merge them. Okay, so we have an ear. Toward the back of Lincoln's relatively flat head. The flat back of the head. And so now I will select this face, and in the perspective view, I will extrude this out, scale it a little bit larger, and then rotate it. We always want the transition from the ear to the face to be flat. So pulling this back and rotating out even a little bit more, we get a smoother transition from ear to head. Another extrude. And scale in. F for focus so that my rotation is around what I have selected. Rotate in. And now another extrude, but this one gets pulled inward and then scaled. So without getting a lot of detail, we have a sense of the form. Certainly because it's fun, we could pull out the tragus. But that's all I would do for shaping the ear. And make this side of the head a bit more curved. And now might not be a bad time to select all these edges and do a quick normals soften edge. So now a nostril. With interactive split tool, I can cut from the point of the nose back to where the nostril is going to be, and then all the way back. And then, hitting Y to get this tool, cut that line for the nostril, and this line for the nostril. And then select these faces and extrude. And scale. And then use the edge tool, the edge component mode, to select and move that out. Nostril. We select these edges, normals, soften edge, a sense of nostril, a sense of ear. So now I check my character in the front view, and it seems to me that the nostril could be both in more and higher. Bring in this tip a little bit. And getting this nostril to fit. The ear looks like it should come up as well. All the way up. Typically, if we're going to trust one view, it should be the side view. And maybe they'll bring that ear up higher later. But for now, I think that's pretty good. So let's take a look at cutting in the eyes. We want to have six-sided shapes. I'm going to go to Show, Shading, and go to X-Ray. And I'm going to use the interactive split tool to cut straight down to that nostril. And again, if it's not working, sometimes it's a bit better if we actually use the option box. And of course, if we try different angles. Perhaps if I go this way first. Aha! Everyone but there. Vertices, select all of these and merge. Contract the splits. Misbehaving. I assume if I use the Insert Edge Loop tool, I will not get a result. Nope. Okay. So going back to the Interactive Split tool, I'm going to try just a couple more. There we go. Something on which to hang a hat. No! Getting there. So we can hit Shift, right-click, and choose the Split tool, and then the Split Polygon tool. And the Split Polygon tool sometimes is a little bit more reliable. In this case, it seems to be holding us in good stead. Take a moment to select all of these vertices and hit merge. Select all these vertices and hit merge. And get rid of these extra lines that I don't need. Bring out the cheek. And returning to the original intention here, which was to make the eye. So returning to this split polygon tool in the front view, what I want to do is create these bags. I'll start a little bit beyond the nose. Returning to X-ray, so I can see the other side of this. Vertex, I can lift these up a little bit. And keep cutting. Not most of it. Vertex. And if we look at it here, we can see the overall eye form. Now we do another cut. For the inside of the lid. And I'd like to enhance this detail to make it more rounded. That's pretty close to what I wanted here. Except that I certainly do want quads. Step down to all of this and merge. Okay, so here I can extrude the bags under his eyes. I hit extrude, pull this out, shrink it, go to edge, bring this down. This vertex can be snapped. Oops, zoomed all the way in. This can be snapped, and this can be snapped. Hit merge. Edge, select all these edges. Normals, soften. And we begin to see a form that looks like the bags under his eyes. Eventually I would add one more line in here to make it curved, but that's pretty good as is. Now I can select these spaces, and I can extrude the eye itself. A little bit flatter. Select the edges, and go to normals, soften edge. These two I'll remove. This I'll cut. This I'll cut. And this I'll bring up a little bit. Select the vertices and merge. Select the edge, backspace. Snap into place, select and merge. And so of course this line needs to cut all the way around, but I will leave it for the moment. But I would like to cut this. So even though it's not perfect, the split polygon tool is sometimes a little bit more reliable than the interactive split tool. And remembering how to reach that, we hold down the Shift key, right-click, split polygon here on the right. And now go to Vertex, hold down V to snap, hold down V to snap, V to snap, V to snap. Select all these vertices and hit merge. Select all the edges and hit soften. So there we have a decent start on features. And the next stage is the hair. To do the hair, just like we did the jackets, we need to cut in the shape and then extrude. I'm going to start by making a few adjustments here to the chin. We don't need these spaces here at the bottom. Nor this inside. I would like to have a line up the side of the neck. We can make this more rounded. Sometimes we can do these one at a time. Vertex. V-snap. 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 Select all these vertices, merge. And now this can be pulled down here. This can be pulled here. And we have a more rounded neck. And here's a good opportunity to finish that line. Oh, I was so hopeful. Nope, okay. Notice that the next line that it wants to go to, or can go to, is lightened. That's useful. I'm going to reduce the amount of noise here. Select down these vertices and hit merge. Select these vertices, and I can bring them out just a little bit. Bring a bit more roundness in his face. Okay, so, as promised, let's go to the hairline. Returning to the split polygon tool. Oh, let's do a move first. I think these need to be a little bit higher, because the hair needs to cross into the head. Alright, so Interactive Split Polygon tool. Oh, almost got it. Merge. I'll say right around there is good. And now the other side of the ear. Other side of the beard toward the ear. Get that line around the neck. And the line along the back of the head. Oops. Merge. Now I can get rid of some of these lines that I created in the middle earlier. Oh, I did something there I was not supposed to. Going back. That's better. So here's a bit of coolness. If I select around the entire form and I hit backspace, only the vertices that are free floating on a line will be removed, and all the rest are left alone. So now that I have cut this shape, I can extrude the form. Right after I fix this edge that I should have fixed before. Okay, so now I hit face, and I select all the faces that are meant to be beard and hair. I missed a cut here. I'll extrude without them for the moment. Okay. So now we hit extrude, pull it out, scale a little bit, and now we can continue working to soften edges, to cut in more details, but the overall face is here. I do want to select these faces on the inside of the face, because these would otherwise be interior geometry. So the first thing I can do before actually removing them is I can non-uniform scale them flat, move them in, and then those interior shapes can just be deleted. So that's a decent start on Abe's head. Certainly a lot of work needs to be done on the hair, not to mention lots of detail on the face, but that is the basic form. The final part of this tutorial in making the basic character is to bring the body and the head together and make them into a single mesh, and then to mirror the geometry so we have the full volume form that could then be presumably exported to a game or a film to test in the production pipeline. So I will unhide the body, and I will select the body so I can select this polygon and delete it. Going to the front view, turning off X-ray, and going to object mode, I'm going to move the head into position over the body. Specifically, in the front view, to make sure that they share the same center line. That's pretty close. In the side view, again, turning off X-ray, I want to make sure that his head is leaning forward appropriately. That looks fine. And now I select the torso, hold down Shift to select the head, and go to Mesh, Combine. So now they are a single object. And what I need to do is connect them at their vertices. The head right now has more vertices than the body. So I would need to cut some more. So if I select this vertex and this vertex, I can just do a very quick collapse, which is like a merge, except doesn't matter how close the vertices are. Oh, not on the vertex though. So to do it on a vertex, we go to merge, and we just increase the threshold dramatically, and that will give us a collapse. Collapse works, I believe, for edges and faces. So hit apply, select these two, hit apply, select these two, hit apply, hitting 4 so I can see wireframe, then back to 5, hit apply, select these two, hit apply, and then I have the one stray vertex again. And so I'll use the interactive split poly tool again to draw that line. And then select these two vertices and hit apply with the merge tool. I'd really like this to be a quad here. That's better. And I'd like it in the front as well. When I can't draw a line from a corner vertex, I find it helpful to select instead to draw a line between edges. While I'm here, fix the beard a little bit. Yeah, all this is going to need a lot of work. But now the two are combined. And it's been a while since we saved. In fact, I'm not sure I've saved this all along. That's really bad. I would save this very, very frequently. Now would be a good time to go to File, Save Scene. Automatically it goes into the project folder that we set before. I'll call this Honest Abe and hit Save. And it saves. And now for the very last thing we're going to do on this model, we're going to duplicate it as a mirror and attach the two sides. The first thing I'll want to do is bring the pivot point into the center of the character. If I hit the Insert key on the keyboard, I can drag this over and then zoom in to make sure that I'm truly in the center of the character. There is certainly a diminishing returns from zooming in too much, but that looks pretty good. And hit the Insert key again to resume normal pivot functions. And now I can go to Edit, Duplicate Special, and get the option box. I can set the X value scale to -1 and hit Apply, and it will not just duplicate but mirror. A negative scale is a mirror. I select this part of the body, this half, and then I select this half of the body. I go to Mesh, Combine. And now in the front view, I can select the vertices down the middle. Oops. Alt middle mouse to move. That should have gotten all the vertices in the entire character. Aha. I missed these two. But now I can scale non-uniformly to flatten them together. And once they're really, really close, I can go to Edit Mesh, Merge, Option Box, and bring this number back down to a very, very small value, 0.01. I hit Apply. Let's try 0.1. Apply. Whoop. Too large a number. Undo. It looks like 0.01 might be sufficient. Let's try 0.05. I think that got one that was not previously done. Yep, one that we did not want done. There we go. So now the two sides are merged. If I select an individual vertex in the middle and try to move it, it moves them both. And there we have it. While there's plenty of work to do to make it a stronger model in terms of detail and smoothing, we have a basic form. We can use it in production. The team does not need to wait a week for this to be created. It's just created in about an hour or two. Thank you for watching.